Politics program. Not the program. This is the stream. The stream we do on the internet where you and I can just have a good old fashioned conversation. Now, you might be watching this as a recorded version or something that just started auto playing when you were scrolling through Twitter. Well, if that's the case, then welcome as well. It'll just be a little bit different. Other people will ask questions, and I'll respond to them. What do we got? What do we got here? We can start off with some Trump fundraising numbers, something that has been a big worry amongst the conservative crowd. $65.6 million in March. He has 93.1 cash on hand. Now, this is something that, like, Joe Biden has had a fundraising advantage. There's been a lot of conversation about small dollar donations. Is it more acute on the Republican side than on the Democratic side? But both have seen attrition. There's not as many small dollar donors as there once were. And you have to wonder, is that because of the economy? Is that because people are done being pestered? I tend to lean more former than latter, mostly because why would now be the breaking point where people didn't like getting 17 text messages a day? It's not like this is new. This has been happening for like a decade now. But Biden, of course, still will have a cash on hand advantage of 155 million to Trump's 93.1. Then again, the big question is exactly how much is there an advantage for Biden because he doesn't have to pay lawyers. I expect a full hour on Ye. What do you do now? What did Ye do now? Why did my nose just exploded? I have not seen any Kanye news. Should I Google Kanye? Do I want to Google Kanye? Oh, the lawsuit? I'm not even looking at that. Come on. I mean, like, that doesn't even register on the Kanye Richter scale. That's not even. This is the problem with people. Like, Kanye became my favorite artist at a time when I very much was receptive to the album The College Dropout. And as I got older, I continued to be receptive to his music. It's very odd and exciting when a musician seems to kind of have these hit similar chords as you are through your life. But I enjoyed the man when he was rapping about how the government administered AIDS. And if you were a Kanye fan then, so were you. So anyone who's particularly surprised when he spazzes out and says wild shit, cool. It just means you probably weren't paying attention. The government did administer AIDS. Well, then obviously another Kanye fan. Here we are. We can all gather here. I don't. Look. I've done some basic reading into. Essentially, it's an ex-employee for Donda Academy and Yeezy. I can only imagine that these are not clearly defined roles. Kanye hires people to come on. They do catch as catch can stuff and go forward, largely project based. This is total guesses. I have no idea whatsoever. And there was somebody who didn't like their experience. I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like, what can be written in a lawsuit that isn't wilder than shit that Kanye himself has put on tape? That hasn't come out of his mouth. So it's like, is it true? I have no idea. Is any of the shit in there wilder than stuff that he said out loud under his own name? No, not particularly. Not to me. Kanye was ahead of a lot of the Israel stuff. Jeez, dude. We got to talk about it on We're Not Wrong, too. Oh, God. Got to talk about the World Central Kitchen stuff in Gaza. God knows where it's going to go. Absolute tragedy. 3 vehicles blown up via drone by the IDF for the World Central Kitchen. Obviously at an extraordinarily tense time as the IDF looks to engage what they have described as the final push of their operation into Gaza. There's a lot of question on relocating some of the refugees that have moved from the previous stages of this operation. And in the midst of it, according to the IDF, a very, very costly whoopsie. 11:30 at night, there is a mistake. They believe that there is somebody that they want to take out in the convoys. They take him out. Turns out, not who they thought it was. The person that they even thought they were trying to go after wasn't even in the convoys. Just a bad scene all around. And obviously tensions even higher past that. According to the IDF, it was a whoopsie. Now, you cannot believe the IDF. That is well within everybody's rights. I personally, the way I see it, I can't imagine a reason that benefits Israel to take them out on purpose. But who am I? Just a barking dog on the internet. What's going to happen to Bibi? Well, look, Bibi's unpopular. Bibi was unpopular when he assumed the prime ministership this most recent time. There is a large opposition to him. He will not be prime minister for very much longer after these military options are over, if not before. There is obviously a tremendous amount of pressure on him. Well, all right. I'll just read out how I understand the situation. And again, I'm not a scholar. I'm just a guy who has been interested in the politics of that country for a while. So, armchair, this is how I understand it. Before October 7th, Netanyahu was a very controversial figure. He was obviously popular enough to put together a coalition to become prime minister, but just barely. Indeed, it was elements of his coalition that continued to make him unpopular because he had to acquiesce to some of these very, very pro-settler smaller parties to put everything together. This is the kind of shit that happens in a parliamentary system. Don't blame me. We're first past the poll. The president basically becomes a god king for 4 years. That's what America does. So don't blame me for all this parliamentarian bullshit. Moving on. Netanyahu is facing criminal charges, and there is a school of thought, and I don't think that it's a totally ignorant one, that he wants to stay in power because the longer he stays in power, the less imperiled he is legally. So, bake that into the cake. Also bake into the cake that because of the settler parties that are in coalition with Netanyahu, Netanyahu is paying a lot more attention to the West Bank than he was to Gaza, because that's where the settler parties were more focused. So, bake that into the cake. Bing, October 7th. October 7th happens, and obviously it is horrifying. This is the most successful terrorist attack within Israel in its lifetime. This was not a traditional war. This was an out-and-out terror campaign that killed 4 digits. So, now, obviously, you have a lot of unity in Israel. Kill Hamas, kill Hamas, kill Hamas. Cool. So now we're off. Usually, incursions into Palestinian territory only engender about, a month's worth of patience from the international community. We are into month 6. Of this offensive, and now you are starting to see real wear. Inside Israel, you've got a couple different factors. Number one, you have everybody who didn't like Netanyahu in general, and they can split up into a few different camps. Number one, security-minded people who believe that Netanyahu took his eye off the ball. He was way too interested in the West Bank. He was not interested enough in Gaza. The blood is on his hands. Then you have people who are calling for a ceasefire so you can get the hostages, the Israeli hostages, out of Gaza. I don't know what the current count is. I think it's like 30 or 40. God knows how many of them are still alive. And there are ongoing talks. The question is, does Hamas want to give up those hostages? Because giving up those hostages essentially means that they have given up the rest of their leverage. So the question, like the negotiation for anybody actually following what's happening and not just throwing bumper stickers at each other, the negotiation is how many Palestinian prisoners will be released for Israeli prisoners. And we are at a like 10-to-1 multiple in the current state of the negotiation. So like for every 1 Israeli, there's like 10 Palestinians that would be released. The other problem there is that the guy who's running Hamas inside Gaza goes by the name of Sinwar. Sinwar was the person that masterminded October 7th. There was a big conversation about exactly what Hamas wanted to do. Do they want to be more a political operation? Do they want to be more of a terror operation? Sinwar was the person who said, no. Terror operation. This is what we're doing. We need to eliminate the Jews. Got to get them out. I'm Sinwar. We got to get these Jews right out. Folks, probably really offensive. Moving on. He's the one that would have to release the prisoners. The people that are negotiating with the Israelis are not Sinwar. There is no, like, let me give him a call. No, okay, yeah, no, he's into that. He's not into that. It's very, very spotty. From what I've read in terms of a lot of the reporting on it, this is not something that even the Hamas delegation that's negotiating can feel assured that Sinwar will follow through on. So if they're going to make a deal, they've got to make a deal that is so over the top, strong for Hamas that Sinwar would even go along with it. The shoe that's yet to drop is exactly how many of these hostages are alive. I have heard whispers and rumors, not many. That is the guess by people that would know. But still, you've got a lot of families. You've got a lot of people that are saying, my husband, wife, sister, mother, brother was taken. I want them back. Another element of this is that it was Netanyahu that set the precedent for giving back multiples of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for a single Israeli hostage. So some of this is also, there was one very, very famous prisoner transfer that actually transferred Sinwar out of Israeli custody that Netanyahu has his hands on. So some of this is also fruit of that tree, which has to go into some of the calculus when it comes to all this. Now, for as loud as the ceasefire calls are in Israel, the way I understand it, there are some very important differences between the American version of a ceasefire now chant and an Israeli version of a ceasefire now chant. An American version of a ceasefire now, as I understand it, is Israel should stop attacking forever and indeed probably cede territory and create a two-state solution, if not dissolve entirely. The Israeli version, as you might imagine, probably doesn't go as far, but is a ceasefire now, get back the hostages, and then go back and kill Hamas. While there are hardcore peace activists that have always been in Israel, many of them in the kibbutzes that Hamas attacked, for the record, there still is an existential dread amongst Israelis that this is something that can and will happen again. Probably because that's what Hamas has said they want to do. And so, amongst all that super dry tinder, we have this World Central Kitchen. If you are unfamiliar, the World Central Kitchen is a non-governmental organization, an NGO, as they say in the business. Jose Andres, celebrity chef. If you have ever been to a Haleo restaurant, as I have been to several, they are always extraordinarily good. In fact, if you've ever seen a social media video of me doing a Perón at a restaurant, it was likely at the Haleo in either Orlando or Las Vegas. That's Jose Andres. He has the World Central Kitchen. If you follow him on social media, which I do, he is all over the world. His mission is to feed people that are in crisis. He is very plugged in terms of governmental stuff. I would say specifically more on the side of the Democratic Party than the Republican Party, but he is not he's more in that Bono area. He will play ball with anybody who wants to play ball if it involves him and his team going in and feeding people. And they have fed people all over the world. It is truly a good cause. I believe I have donated to them in the past. Jen Briney has volunteered for them, as she will talk about on We're Not Wrong. And there we go. So obviously it's a cut and dry situation. Everybody can feel comfortable that this is a certainly uncomplicated, very simple, very, very simple situation. First a world kitchen, then a world government. Guys, if you could do me a favor and just with tweets, anything with like, if you can cut and paste what's in a link into the chat, please do, because clicking on links is yeah. Yeah, a clip of Diddy checking Peeper if he was wearing a wire. Um, I can't stop thinking about the guy who catches his shit. Yeah, I like him. I liked him more. That was on Great Night last night. Very poop heavy. Did not expect everything would be so poop heavy. Like everything but the shaman girl, which I knew Brian would have limited interest in the shaman girl, but I did want to talk about her because she was kind of the main character of the internet over the weekend. But yeah, other than that, everything was very, very butt focused, including the story that Brian brought. Yeah, we'll take calls. Hold on. Hold on for one more day. I've been trying to get into Great Night, but it's been hard. Well, I apologize. I'm always curious about that piece of feedback of like, I want to like your thing, but it's bad. Which it's like you're interested enough to try, and I always want to support that. It's just who in the U.S. Congress would want to send aid to Israel after yesterday? Merrill Barr, who in the U.S. Congress will want to send aid to Israel after yesterday?
I got nothing, man. I have a question for you, though.
Okay, yeah.
Do we need to fight?
Pardon?
Because, like, you know what? I have been very calm and understanding of your position on beaches. I've let it go. I've let it ride, man. But you got the nerve and I'm not even a beach person, but you got the nerve to come out here and say SoCal got no beaches? Fuck's wrong
California
with
doesn't
you?
have beaches. No, it doesn't.
What the fuck is wrong with you? How
What?
dare you?
It's a lovely place. It's a lovely place. Great views. Tremendous weather. It's just the water's cold. Cold water doesn't a beach make.
Okay, we gotta. What is with you and this cold water, warm water nonsense? Like, if you want to say that, there's no sand, it's not a beach. You want to
Here's
say
what I
that,
find. Here's what I find interesting, Maro, about the reaction to this, and it's very telling. I've never slandered any of these other places. I have never said that they were bad. I've said that I've had really, really good times at all of them. And yet, what do I get in return? Vitriol. You started this phone call by saying, do you need to initiate physical violence? Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that there's a lot of insecurity there. And that's fine. It's fine. There's a lot of insecurity.
why are you denying me my identity?
What do you mean deny I never denied anything, anybody. I just said that to me, personally, my personal thoughts, a beach has warm water. Is that fucking controversial? No. Most people agree. And yet the vocal minority is unhinged. Unhinged.
You're right, and you're a part of it. You're the vocal minority, sir. You, sir.
What are we doing here? Did you just no but you me? Is that what you did? No but you? That's why you called in, so you could no but you me.
Oh, I don't know why I'm laughing so hard. Oh God. Oh God. Oh, you have taken this bit so far.
I
Oh
don't
my
look.
God.
This number one. It's not a bit. You were correct on the internet. You're like, oh, it's April Fool's Day. No. This is my true belief. I don't. There's no question in my mind. And again, these are not bad places. I've had a great time at beaches in the Bay Area or in places where water meets the land in the Bay Area. I've had a great time in Santa Monica in LA, Venice in LA. Great times. Great times. I've had very enjoyable times there. And it's a good breeze. The waves look nice. It's just not a beach because you can't go into the water and enjoy yourself.
Let me ask you this question. All right, if it's not a beach, it's got to be something. What is it?
Where the water meets the land.
But that's not.
They should change the signs to say that.
You need better branding, right?
What am I? How did I become in charge of this?
Because you made yourself in charge.
No, I did not. I had an opinion. Okay. And again, this is another thing. Just because I have a difference of opinion with a small vocal minority that believes that beaches can have cold water. Again, we're talking about 5% of the population. 95% of the population agrees with me. Proven. That now I have to do more work. No, my work is done. I've been to all these places. I've enjoyed all these things. And for the record, I've had nothing but good things to say about them. All right? I'm not like Andrew Heaton who wants to slander things that he doesn't like. I'm saying I enjoy all of it. I just believe that words matter and beaches have warm water.
But then you have to give what you're taking.
No, I don't. I don't have to do shit. I just did everything I need to do.
So
why are you handing me more work? I don't need to do any more work.
Are you saying these places stole the beach identity? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a misnomer, but we have a lot of those in the English language.
I feel like to take away the identity of
Why do you think I'm taking anything away?
Because that is exactly what you're doing.
No, I'm not. I'm having an opinion. You can have an opinion as well.
You're stating your.
You can have an opinion as well. Now, the fact that you are reacting so strongly to my opinion tells me that you might not hold your opinion particularly strongly. And you might feel a certain way about it. And so now you have to flail and yell and hurl invective. That is insecurity coming out. Insecurity of your own intellectual position, one might say.
Oh, this is good. Oh fuck, this is some Ani Donna level shit. You have found your Ani Donna bit in this.
Not a bit, man. This is my lived truth. This is my lived truth. Do you have anything else?
Yes. Have you been following up on this H1N1 shit?
No.
We got bird flu, baby. It's jumped to humans, and they are tracking it.
Well, where is it? Where have we tracked it?
Mostly in Texas. Sorry.
I have not heard about it. Nobody around us have talked about it.
Hang on, I'll get a link going.
Don't fucking put a goddamn link at this. It's not your fault. It's Restream. I just can't click a fucking link. All right. H1N1 Texas.
Let's see here. What we got here? The CDC was monitoring, or not the CDC, the USDA was monitoring because it was jumped from cows. They found it in a bunch of cows.
So what the fuck? How is it bird flu if it's in cows? Riddle me that. A person in Texas became ill with bird flu after contact with an infected dairy cattle. The first human case of the highly pathogenic strain of avian influenza in Texas. Second recorded in the U.S., according to the Health Alert. Where did it happen? That's what I want to know. Where? Oh, it was in the Panhandle. Yeah, they fucking deserve it. Kidding. Kidding, everybody.
They got beaches in the Panhandle.
Kidding. Just joking. I'm joking. Yeah, that's not a big deal. Whatever. Somebody got it. They're going to quarantine everybody, and that'll be that.
So wait, I'm gonna go out on this. Back to the previous topic. Are there no beaches?
No, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not a vending machine. I'm not a piano player that you can just demand that I play the hits. Okay, I've made my point clear. If you have another point that you would like to make about either my point or yours, but again, this is all right. Go ahead. Last thing, and then you're gone.
Okay. Are there beaches where you live now?
In Texas?
Yes.
Well, I mean, no, there's not a beach where I live in Austin. Austin is landlocked. Although there are rivers that they call lakes because they're dammed. But no, there are no beaches in Austin. And when I went down to
beaches on the Gulf?
When I went down to the Gulf, no, not a beach. Too cold. I'm on the record saying this.
Well, do you find that depressing? Do you find that because you've been taken away from your tribal land, essentially?
I haven't been by a beach since I had left for college.
Do you miss it?
I like a beach. To be totally honest, I was never a gigantic beach guy when I was growing up.
Really?
Well, because it's like everybody on some level hates their hometown, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, even if you grow up in a place that is a very tourist-friendly area, like South Florida is, you tend to resent elements of your hometown. Now, you eventually come to love it, but yeah, I don't know. Beach, like, I didn't go to the beach as much as I thought people thought I should be going to the beach, but I guess in general, I probably went to the beach more than an average person in America.
Did you watch the new Roadhouse?
No, I did not. No, I did not. No, I did not.
Are there that freeway, that famous freeway that runs across that long? I forget what it's called. The long ass freeway in Miami that runs over the water. Are there two of those now?
What was that?
Are there two of them now? One that's dilapidated and off limits, and a new one that's built. Is that a thing now?
It's been a very long time since I've been down to Miami Beach and South Beach. So I have no idea.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about, right? Because I don't know what the name of it is.
I don't know exactly what you are talking about, but I do know that there is a highway that goes between Miami Beach and South Beach. Yes.
Right. The highway is basically just one giant bridge. And in that movie, it's like, oh, there's a new one that they're driving on, and there's an old one that's dilapidated and broken. No one drives on it anymore, and trees grow through it. And I'm like, wait, when did we add a second one? Like, I didn't know that there was a new one. Apparently, according
Yeah,
to that movie.
I am not. I would defer to Lord Google
Okay,
for any specifics on
so
that.
so your Florida man updates only go as far as
To
2001.
be totally honest, and this is going to get really specific, I'm a 954 guy. I'm not a 305 guy. I'm a Broward guy. And look, people from South Florida will understand. They're about 30 minutes away. Don't need to cross the line. Don't need to go to Miami. I got everything I need in Broward.
Kind of like me being a Valley boy in Los Angeles, but not a Santa Monica boy. I get it. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. I mean, it's just what do they got in Miami that they ain't got here, right? I got a beach. You know, cheaper, cheaper in Broward. Was cheaper in Broward. I don't know. It's probably expensive as shit now. Now, there's also some racial divisions with that. There's a little bit more white people in Broward. It's a little bit more diverse in Miami. But in general, when you're growing up, you don't need to go south. Yeah, unless you absolutely you're going to like a sports game or something like that. The Miami Dolphin Stadium is literally on the line between Broward and Miami Beach, or
All right,
Broward and Miami Dade rather.
all right. This is a good one, man. I'm gonna go. Have a good one.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
In World War II, were the beaches stormed or was the land meets the water stormed? So that's actually really, really funny. A friend of mine, Rachel, who has occasionally graced the programs, one of my best friends from high school. I won't get into the details, but there was once a bet that she lost where she was going to have to eat a pickle. She hates pickles, despises pickles, like close to phobic about pickles. She thought she was going to win the bet. She did not win the bet. And our friend, and I can't believe, because at that time they were kind of on again, off again. I can't remember whether or not they were romantically tangled at the time, but famously in our friend lore, just kept screaming in her face, "Soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy," as if to say that if they can do that, you can do this. And so when she heard the We're Not Wrong episode with my beach take, she just said, "Soldiers stormed the place where the water meets the land of Normandy!" Exclamation point. Yeah, I don't like mayo either. Yeah, I just don't understand why some people, I have very, very simple opinions, and some people react to them in a way that, again, I will say, exhibits insecurity in their own perspective. You see this a lot. I want to go back to something. All right. Who is it? Who is it? Beach things. Beach shit does get people going. I will say that. If I were trying to farm engagement, that would be a pretty good thing to do. The Justin Clark. Sorry, that Justin Clark. You couldn't let the mustache of yours grow 2 centimeters wider on each side. The tiny mustache got taken out by one man, if you recall. How fucking small you think this mustache is? It goes to the end of my fucking mouth. All right? It's a little bit closer cropped, not a handlebar, but it's not a Hitler. I have gotten this, though, to the point where I think I might have to dye the mustache, because it's not the mustache's size that is the problem. It's that some of it is white, and so I do think people are confused to think, like an optical illusion, that it's a Hitler mustache. It is not a Hitler mustache. But I do think I'm going to have to dye this fucker. That was so weird, that Michael Jordan commercial where he had a Hitler mustache. It looks like a Hitler stash. Something happens between what the mustache is to me versus what you guys see. But as somebody who has shaved in, as whenever a guy with a beard is shaving down, you start to try out a bunch of different things, and sometimes you shave in the little Hitler stash or whatever, like just because that's the last stop. But like, it's a Hitler stash would be to there. Like, you see how much I'm covering? You seem insecure that you have a Hitler stash. Well, I seem insecure that people think I do. Yeah, you're right. I am. I've never thought about dyeing my hair ever. I think I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to get Just for Men to dye this shit. It is the gray. I'm going jet black too. Jet black mustache. I'm gonna look like a fucking like a crooked cop in Gotham City. Dyeing it black would be worse. No, because the problem. All right, we're gonna get closer. We'll get closer. Let's figure this out. Yeah, moving. Yeah, bleach blonde in the middle. All right. So that's the mustache. That is not a Hitler stash. Right? There's no way. But the sides are graying, and so I can understand where some people like take a look at just that. But when you look at it up close, it's going to the end of the mouth. When I dye it black, it'll become a handlebar. Yeah, no, I mean, people will realize that it's a little bit closer cropped. But I'm gonna look like a fucking maitre d. Like a new immigrant to Argentina. Jesus. Yeah, dude, you know that we're in a valley for political news when we've done 30 minutes on beaches and 20 minutes on whether or not my mustache looks like a Hitler mustache. You know we are in the doldrums. It was Gaza, beaches. Is my mustache a Hitler mustache? Uh, I mean, part of the reason why I like this size mustache is because my wife actually doesn't mind it. My wife in general does not like me with a mustache. She does not, but she likes this. This is tolerable. Oh, shit. Old growth canopy. Got it right. Gaza has a beach. I've been in the Dead Sea. I've been in the Dead Sea. That shit was warm. I was in the Dead Sea in summer. That shit was warm. I have not been to the beaches of Gaza, but I would imagine similar temperature. That's a beach. Any thoughts on the anti-Trump protest votes in last night's primaries? I think both candidates have some warning signs that they have work to do with their coalitions. You saw the difference between Trump's protest vote and Biden's protest vote is that Trump's protest vote came in places that he knows he has problems, and that if he can win them over, then he will almost assuredly win the election. Biden's protest vote came from places that he's like counting on. Like he was not counting on spending a lot of money on, and now he's going to have to spend money and attention on it. The Gaza Beach is one of the last things that those AIDS workers saw. No, it was 11:30, so it's probably too dark to see the beach. If we're going to be, ghoulish. The inky black night was the last thing they saw before violent death consumed them. Just to take a shit in the pool. Oh, God. I don't want to say it. All right, we'll move on. Biden is too busy getting bombs to the IDF to care about protest votes. Yeah, look, it's such a tragedy. I would highly recommend everybody watch Ryan Macbeth's video on this. I have found him to be a very reliable explainer for a lot of military actions. Especially like some basic stuff. And he was very, very, very solid, I believe, on the World Central Kitchen thing. That there's culpability all the way up the chain. You don't launch one of those missiles without there being an up the chain agreement, let alone three of them. I love Cohen on the show. More of them. Yeah, Michael Cohen's great. Michael Cohen's fantastic because he's one of the few people that I'll just text random shit to ask his opinion on. Like the conversation that we had on the show was an extension of a conversation that I had with him over the weekend. Yeah, Ryan used to write the kind of software that made this stuff happen. Yeah. There was an up-the-chain agreement 3 times that they wanted to kill aid workers. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And obviously opinions are very, very easy to come by if all you do is throw bumper stickers at people who are throwing bumper stickers at you. But I personally don't see the upside in them doing that. And if they did do it on purpose, if they have already gone through the institutional perspective to say that we are going to kill aid workers, then why not lie and say they weren't really aid workers, they were working with Hamas? Why not just smear World Central Kitchen? Why take the blame for that? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But again, people really aren't here for sense. I can't wait till the tourists leave on this topic. I can't wait. God, I can't wait till the tourists leave. I'm like a local at the Jersey Shore. Can't wait till the tourists leave. Because having a serious conversation about what's happening is just fucking impossible when the tourists are here. I hope, God, I can't wait. I mean, we went from what? We went from immunization experts, virology experts to, well, no, it was Me Too, some misogyny experts to virology experts to racial experts. And now we're at Palestinian, Israeli experts. I just hope that the experts find a new area of expertise. The World Central Kitchen should have had their vehicles more clearly marked. Not only were they marked, they were, coordinating with the IDF. And, this is again, watch Ryan's video. There's, it happened at 11:30 at night. And those drones, which he shows how they see at night, you probably couldn't read anything that was on it, but still, the reason why you're coordinating is so you know that X is going to Y, and that's going to be it. It was in a deconflicted zone, So either they intentionally did it, or it's a horrifying mistake that probably shaved about a month off of the time that they're going to be able to operate in Gaza. Are you an expert when you declare yourself to be one? I don't believe that I'm an expert in much. And I would define expert on somebody who spends a lot of time thinking about it, or has done a lot of study, a lot of research, has worked a lot in that area. I don't think that I am. The only thing that I would say that I'm actually a real expert in is making an independent living on the internet. That's pretty much it. That's the only thing that I'm really an expert in. Now, there are fields that I do think I know more than the average bear about. Hopefully, politics is one of them. But to be totally honest with you, people don't make a living because they know a lot about politics. People make a living in this game because they are fun talking about politics, When it comes to this specific situation, Israel and Palestine and really the entire Middle Eastern region, it's a field in which I obviously became extraordinarily interested in post 9/11. And Israel, I became very interested in during the intifada of the early aughts because I was both awake until 3:00, 4:00 in the morning every night. And one of the biggest stories was suicide bombings in Israel. And so I just followed it a lot. And, you begin to build stuff up. I visited Israel. That was interesting. I knew a bunch of Israelis growing up in South Florida. I knew a bunch of very sympathetic to the Palestinian cause folks. I don't know how many of my friends, most of my Muslim friends were Pakistani. My best Muslim friend was Pakistani. And obviously there is a tremendous common cause between them. But it's just something that I've been interested in. I would not consider myself an expert. I would just consider myself somebody that's followed it for a while. Like I've followed, sports or movies or something like that. What bothers me, what I would consider to be a tourist position, is somebody who believes that this is a very, very simple situation. I find that to be laughable. Um, Speaking of political nerddom, Stephen A. Smith is a big political debate nerd. God, if anybody's got somebody that, that I can get into Stephen A. Smith's orbit, I would love to. God, I would love to talk to Stephen A. Smith about political debates. I would want his top five. Top five political debaters. And now you might ask me why. God, Stephen A. Smith, the GOAT. The GOAT. I love the fact that he has outlived the reaction to him, and he has rightly been embraced as one of the greatest television personalities of all time. Would I do my impression? No, probably not, because my impression is really kind of a imitation of Amin Al-Hassan's impression of Stephen A. Smith. I don't have a great original impression of Stephen A. Smith. I except for this, I have one original piece of Stephen A. Smith impressionism, and that is him when he does his top fives. And he'll just go, all right, ready? Here we go. Why? That's it. Very limited, very limited Stephen A. Smith impression where he will just the way he goes, why? He was on PBD. What's PBD? Talking about it. He ranked the Super Bowl, then political debates. Well, Amin Al-Hassan, who I'm a huge fan of, I think Amin Al-Hassan is one of the funniest and most insightful basketball or just personalities that there is going today. But Amin Al-Hassan's impression of Stephen A. Smith is brilliant because it encapsulates one of the best Stephen A. Smith things, a very dramatic moment in his character where he will go through all of the throat clearing in a very quiet, almost conspiratorial tone. So we'll do it in the world of politics, right? Now, I would like to say that Joe Biden is running a very good campaign. Joe Biden has a lot of challenges ahead of him, and he has won the presidency once. That is something that many, many men have tried, and many men have failed. But if you mean to tell me that he's going to win Michigan when you have that amount of uncommitted, well, I've got some news for you. Absolutely not. That's the Amin Al-Hassan impression, which I absolutely love. I think is fantastic. But that is certainly not original. It is just amazing. It is amazing. It is not original, and so that is that. Patrick Bet David. I'll take a listen. I'll take a little listen. But the best part about it is that Stephen A. Smith is he's such a central figure that he needs, when he talks on television, he understands that probably everybody who's listening to him, or sorry, anybody he's talking about will also be listening to him. So if he wants to, let's say, shred, pulling a name out of a hat, Devin Booker on the Suns, right? If he's like, Devin Booker, you gotta get better. I'm sorry, but you cannot be shooting that amount of shots and not put up those points. He knows he's going to get a text from Devin Booker. So it's like, what makes, if you really care about the craft, if you care about like the 360 degrees of Stephen A. Smith, then what's amazing about it is that he will do those throat clearing things where he'll just say, I believe Devin Booker is an all-star. I believe that he is one of the best young players that has ever graced the court of the National Basketball Association. But you mean to tell? And that's where the Amin Al-Hass impression is amazing. It's like 10 out of 10. Mwah, chef's kiss. Well, there was that SNL sketch that got cut, but it was like amazing. It was a great SNL impression where it was just that, where it was Stephen A. Smith saying like, LeBron James is a great friend of mine. We got a double bicycle once. We went up and down Santa Monica Boulevard and we each got ice cream cones and we shared our cones together. But you can't only score 5 points in the fourth quarter and call yourself the best basketball player in the world. Stephen A. Smith is so fucking good. He's just so good. God. Anyway, I wish I could watch more Stephen A. Smith. But he does so much stuff now. He does want to get into politics. He wants to be able to do it. I remember one time, because he does so much work for ESPN, he is so plugged in with Disney that he did an Oscars once in 2020. I remember I was watching it in New Hampshire when I was covering the New Hampshire primary. I think it was the Parasite year. Yeah, it was the year that Parasite won. And like he went into, it was not a good fit. It was not a good fit because the Oscars is a very celebratory moment. Everybody's there. That's why it's, what are you wearing? Oh my God, you look beautiful. You did such a great job. Who are you excited to see? Very celebratory. But Stephen A. Smith cannot, there's some real scorpion in the frog shit with Stephen A. Smith. You can give Stephen A. Smith the Oscars, but at some point he's going to be like, I just don't understand why a foreign language, and Parasite is a great movie. It was a fantastic movie. I loved the themes and the acting was fantastic, but I can't understand what they're saying because it's in Korean. And it's like at the Oscars, and like Parasite had like just won. And it was like, you could just see it's like, no. Just say that you loved everything. Sports is not like entertainment. Entertainment does not like to be criticized. Sports doesn't like to be criticized either, but there's enough of a culture of shit talking that like, that's a thing. You don't do that. There's a reason why like the people who talk the most shit are like gossip columnists who are like super catty. What party would Stephen A. Smith associate with if he got into politics? I think he very clearly says, like, I do not associate with any party. I have no party. I think he would be a moderate on either side. So either he would be more of a kind of Nikki Haley Republican, or in our modern sense, right? Or a blue dog Democrat. He said he'll still go for Biden a week ago. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he was a particular fan of Trump. I don't find him to be a MAGA guy. Him and Heaton, are you just prompting me? You're just fucking prompting me. Yep. All right, all right. Give me the topic that Andrew Heaton and Stephen A. Smith would do a podcast about. Give me a topic. Let's go. Fuck it. We're here. No, zoning. I don't have. All right, here we'll do zoning. Hello and welcome back to the Political Orphanage. I'm Andrew Heaton, your erstwhile constable of all things plucky and interesting. My guest today is ESPN's First Take host, Stephen A. Smith. Welcome, Stephen. It's a pleasure to be here, Andrew. A pleasure. Stephen, you've written about zoning, and I'm presuming that you have a lot of very, very interesting thoughts, considering that you have lived in New York City for so many years. Why don't we build more high rises? Well, Andrew, what you have to understand is that if you are not playing man to man, then what you have to do, if you have an inferior defense, let's say that you are the Milwaukee Bucks, and you've got amazing scoring. And I think that Dame Lillard is one of the best scorers that has ever stepped onto a National Basketball Association court. He can fire it from anywhere. He can score 70 in an instant. But if you mean to tell me that when it's the Eastern Conference Finals and you're going up against dogs like Jimmy Butler, like Jason Tatum, and you're going to match up Damon Lillard on one of them, you got to be kidding me. And so you have to go into some kind of modified zone. That way you are switching from one to another and you can hide your defensive liabilities. Interesting. So would you mandate zoning on a local level, neighborhoods, cities, or statewide basis? I ran out of improv. All right, there we go. There's a little Pacino in there. There's a little Pacino. Did we ever send him a rap song? No, we didn't. No, we didn't. No. Maybe we'll bring it up when we're not wrong. I don't have a Charles Barkley. Although my TikTok did start just feeding me great Charles Barkley moments. He's one of my favorites. He's the best. I love Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is one of the best Charles Barkley quotes of all time. Dude was harassing a friend of his, and he threw the motherfucker through a plate glass window, went to court for it. Judge asked him if he was sorry. He said, yeah, I wish the window was on the second floor. Israel has killed thousands of innocent Palestinians in this war. Now that they've killed a few innocent Western aid workers, do you think that the U.S. Congress will continue to support Israel? Yes, I do. I do think that they will continue to support Israel. Here's the biggest reason why the U.S. Congress supports Israel is because we don't have a whole lot of allies that we can trust in the region. Remember when Joe Biden said that Saudi Arabia would be relegated to the status of what were the exact words? Uh, oh God, what was it? Um, pariah, the pariah status that they deserve. That was Joe Biden's statement. This was after the Khashoggi thing. And then currently, right now, American delegations are in Riyadh begging Saudi Arabia because the Biden administration believes that the only way out of this is a two-state solution, and they want Saudi Arabia to recognize Israel. Why? If they're a pariah, then why do we give a shit? If they're a pariah, why do we care? By the way, we went back there before so they could lower gas prices because they have an outsized interest in OPEC. Why? If they're a pariah, why do we care? Why do we sell them weapons? It's because, amongst a lot of bad options, Saudi Arabia can be trusted to be Saudi Arabia. Israel is the closest thing to a Western democracy in the region. There is a deep history between the United States and Israel, and so America will continue to support Israel for a long time. Because to give up a relationship with Israel, and this is not about what's happening now, we're at the 10,000-foot view of this. What would you get in return? The Palestinians don't have a state, and they are financially dependent on Iran and Qatar. So do we want a closer relationship with Iran and Qatar? We tried half of that with Obama. Didn't work out really well. We supported the Saudi genocide in Yemen. Yep. Similar numbers to what's happening in Gaza, too. Rough neighborhood. It didn't work because Trump reneged on the deal. Well, it's not like Biden's got back in it. You know? But still, what does Iran give us in the region? Again, this is the actual like conversation that I think has to happen if you're talking about this kind of stuff. Because the world still needs Saudi oil. We need more EVs. Those have slowed. EV purchases have slowed, which is good for me. Maybe the price will come down on Teslas. I'd like to buy a Tesla when it's a little cheaper. All right. I just realized I have to make a run. I also have to. We changed the rundown like 4 times, and we're not wrong. So I have to actually do the final changes on that. We're going to wrap it up a little early. That'll be that. All right. I will see you later. Oh, exclusive. You ready for this? May 24th. May 24th, Washington, D.C. Live, We're Not Wrong. Details coming soon. May 24th. In concert with the Libertarian Convention. It's going to be awesome.